What's going on, everybody? My name is Ricky. Welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, appreciate you taking a look. Today's video I'm going to be talking about deadlifting bars, in particular the Texas Deadlift Bar. We're going to go over some of the differences between that and maybe a power bar or a regular bar you might find in your local gym. Is it worth it to use a deadlifting bar? What's the point? What are some of the benefits? Kind of all those things. So let's go ahead and let's just start off with we're talking about some of the differences between a deadlift bar and a traditional bar. So one of the big things is the diameter of the deadlift bar is going to be smaller. So for instance, the Texas Deadlift Bar is 27 millimeters, whereas you're going to find a normal power bar is going to be anywhere around that 28.5, 29, sometimes even 30, 31 millimeters, depending on the style of bar or whatever. One of the reasons that this makes is kind of a benefit for deadlifting is that you kind of want the bar to be able to have a little bit of a bend to it, especially as you start to get up in more weights. The advantage of that is that as you pull on the bar, it basically creates a little bit of an arch or a bend, and so the further you're able to get up off of the ground as your starting position, the easier it is to pull a big heavy weight. So the other idea is that some people say that, well, if you're not lifting 495 pounds, 4 or 5 plates on each side, it's really not worth using a deadlifting bar. So that is just kind of one aspect of one of the benefits of a deadlift bar is the smaller. And the other part about that is having that smaller diameter actually is much easier to grip a hold of. So one of the other big things is that you're going to find is the overall length of a deadlift bar, right? So the Texas Deadlift Bar is 92.5 inches. As compared to, let's say, same brand, Texas Power Bars, their power bar is only 86 inches in length. So you're essentially talking about another 6.5 inches wider. Why is that a benefit? And also the power bar is 28.5 millimeters in diameter. So again, it's 1.5 millimeters thicker than the deadlift bar. The reason that plays a role is because having the weights situated out a little bit further, so the longer bar is going to allow that when you start adding the heavier weights in there, that as you go to pull, again, you're able to start off at a higher position because you can pull more. The bar tends to bend a little bit more because it's further out. All right. Both again, this is just kind of comparing within their own brand. So the Texas Power Bar brand, both the power bar and the deadlifting bar have 190,000 tensile strength. One of the other big advantages of using a deadlift bar, depending on the brands that your gym may carry, is they tend to be a lot more aggressive with the knurling. I know, for instance, the Texas Deadlift Bar that we use is very, very, very aggressive. So when you go to pull on it, it has this much more, I guess your grip is much more confident. I noticed the first couple times that I used it, to be honest, at first it was digging into my hands a little bit, and so it was kind of hard to get used to at first because it digs in a lot more. But what I did notice is that as I started to put more weight on, I felt more secure in my grip. That has to do with the aggressive knurling. It also has to do with the smaller diameter of the actual bar itself. A couple of the other things that a deadlift bar you'll see is the sleeves, where the actual weight is on there, is a little bit longer. So with the deadlift bar from them, it is 18-inch sleeves versus the Texas Power Bar itself is only a 17-inch sleeve. The distance between the two collars, on the power bar it is 52 inches, and the deadlift bar it is 56 inches. Again, pushing the weight further out, having a longer bar, having the main weight kind of further out, being able to pull more out of it. And as we go through here, I'll show some of these videos, and you should be able to see at least a little bit of a bend. Now, I personally haven't gotten to the point to where I am pulling 5, 6 plates, or even 4 plates. I'm still somewhere in the mid 300s. I think my best pull was maybe like 360 something, 365 I believe was my best. I do have a couple videos in here of a guy pulling 4 plates, which is 405 pounds. And you'll be able to see a little bit of the bend. Now, the more weight you add on there, the more you're going to get bend out of that bar, and what's called whip, where the weight you'll see will kind of like bounce a little bit. So then it kind of brings in the question, which is one reason why I wanted to do this video, because there are plenty of other videos talking about deadlift bars out there, but you tend to not see people really talk about whether or not it's useful at weights that are under, like, say, 405 pounds or 4 plates. I've had a lot of people tell me that they don't think that it's very useful because you don't really feel much out of it, blah, blah, blah. My thing is I've been using a Texas deadlift bar for, going on a couple months now. We deadlift, once or twice a week, depending on how the schedule goes. What I've noticed since using the bar is I've been able to personally add at least 30 to 40 pounds onto my personal deadlift. But I've also been able to add more reps. So, for instance, my max single was only, 365 a couple weeks ago. Last week, I went and pulled 355 at 5 reps without stopping. And I think one thing that kind of helped with is that having a little bit of bend. Again, at 3.5 plates or so, you're not talking about a ton of bend, but it's just enough that on the descending part, or the eccentric part, I think it's the eccentric, going down basically, it has just enough of a bend that if you just tap it down and pull right back up, you're already at an advantage where you're sitting just a little bit higher. Your back is kind of in a better position. You don't have to go down quite as much. If anybody's ever done a deficit pull, you kind of understand what I'm talking about. The further down you have to go, the harder the lift can be. So by being able to kind of keep it just a little bit, that slack pulled out of it, it makes a difference in the pull. I personally also feel like even if you're just pulling 1 plate or even 2 plates, 135 pounds or 225 pounds, for me, the difference in the grip, that 2 millimeter smaller diameter, along with the aggressive knurling, really, really makes a big difference. A few months ago, before I started using this, we were just using the random bars at the gym, and I'll go ahead and put in some pictures of some of those here, where it has more of a smoother texture. The knurling is not nearly as aggressive. I noticed that me personally, I don't have the strongest grip strength, so when I would get up to, like, say, 275 pounds, I would need to use my wrist wraps because I just didn't have the grip strength to be able to do, sets of 5 or whatever or more without my grip giving out and having to put it down. As soon as I switched over to this bar, I could start repping, 315, 335 and not have to use grips. I was just, just an over-under was working just fine. Now, as I got towards my max lifts, where I would prefer to do double overhand, I did go ahead and start using my wrist wraps again, just to have that confidence in the grab. But the texture and diameter of the bar definitely helps with grip, in my opinion. I think that it is much more confidence there in the grip. So I, personally, I think that even at 1 and 2 plates on each side, I notice a difference just simply from a grip perspective. Now, you're not going to notice much on the slack of the bar, the pulling slack or whatever we call it, having that bend. You're probably not going to notice it 1, 2 bars, 3, or 1 or 2 plates, 3 plates even. I notice it a little bit once you start getting above 3 plates or right around 3 plates. I think that you start to notice a little bit of pull in there. Obviously, the more you go up, the more you're going to get out of that. So then the question becomes, where is it beneficial to use a deadlift bar? In my opinion is, if you're somebody who doesn't deadlift all that often, I probably wouldn't worry about it. If you're somebody who has the means and the space to be able to get one, maybe you're building a home gym, or maybe you have some space at your gym that you can lock a bar up, which is kind of what we do. I have a couple bars that are in a locked room that a handful of people will use. And so if that's the case and you're considering buying one, if you're an avid deadlifter who deadlifts once a week, or something like that, I wouldn't worry so much about the amount of weight that you're pulling, because I think that as you continue to use it, you're just going to continue to add strength if you're doing it on a regular basis, and you know, you'll get more out of it in the long run as you get into heavier weights. But the confidence and the grip strength, the just getting used to using it, I think it's beneficial. So you know, if you're only able to pull 225 pounds, 250, you know, something like that, and you're worried about not wanting to buy it because it may not be, I wouldn't pay attention to all that. If you have the means and the space, by all means, I would go for it. Like I said, I'm only in, you know, 3.5. And my goal is to get to 405, 4 plates by, you know, hopefully next couple months. So that's just kind of my opinion. And kind of another side to bring out too is, you know, are you a sumo or a conventional deadlifter? This bar is absolutely amazing for both if you can tolerate it. And what I mean by that is the first time I used this bar, there was a gentleman that was bringing his in. He had just gotten it to the gym that I go to. I recognized that it was a Texas Deadlift Bar because I had been doing some research on them. And I asked him about it. We got into a conversation. He had me, you know, go through a couple of deadlifts and give it a try. He was a sumo lifter, and one thing about the Texas deadlifting bar is, and I'll throw a video in here real quick so you can see, it has no knurling in the middle, but it does have knurling going further out, almost all the way towards the end, not quite to the end. And so if you're a sumo deadlifter, remember the knurling is very aggressive. And so dragging the bar up your leg, he has constantly got scabs all over his shins because it's just tearing skin as he's pulling it up. He's pulling in the mid-5s, so I mean it's obviously some heavy weight for most people anyways. And whereas if you're a conventional lifter, the middle of it, there's no knurling. So I mean, like I have no problem because I'm a conventional deadlifter, and it pulls just fine. I don't have any issues with tearing up my legs or anything like that. They do make specific bars for sumo deadlifters, so if you're more of a sumo style and that is a concern of yours, you know, you may want to check out some sumo specific that doesn't have the knurling out towards where your legs would line up. Although I will say that he absolutely loves his, even though it does tear his legs up, he still loves the bar. He thinks it's a fantastic bar. My overall opinion of the bar itself is that it's very well made. It is very easy to just walk over and grab and pick it up. Like I said, that I absolutely love the texture of it. Some people don't. A couple people I lift with on a weekly basis, they prefer to use the ones in the gym because the gym provided ones, because it has less texture and it doesn't hurt their hands as much. I found that after about 2 or 3 weeks, I stopped noticing it. You know, it doesn't bother me anymore. You can always use chalk, you know, to help, whatever. But those are just my opinions. If you're an occasional deadlifter, don't worry about using it. I don't think it's really worth, you know, the extra benefits or whatever. If you're an occasional deadlifter, if you are somebody who's adamant about, you know, lifting on a weekly basis and it's something you considered, I think the Texas deadlifting bar is a fantastic bar. Well made, looks great, feels great, very, very confident in the hands. So just some things to consider. Trying to think if there's anything else that really kind of stands out. I don't think so. I think that's pretty much it. If you guys have any, you know, opinions, questions, concerns, what's your experience? You know, leave some comments down in the comment section. Let me know. Do you own a deadlift bar? Do you own a Texas deadlift bar? Or maybe a Rogue, you know, deadlift bar, the Ohio bar. They also make some fantastic bars. You know, what's your guys' opinion? Have you used them? Let me know your thoughts below. If you guys are new to the channel and you thought that this, if you enjoyed the video, leave a like. Likes definitely help out. Consider subscribing. But yeah, you guys have a great day.